Hilly evening here at the Jungle. This is the way the two teams will line up. The Castleford Tigers have got Ryan McGoldrick at fullback. Then it's Dixon, Shenton, Evans and Owen, Faumuina and Sherwin. Up front it's Sargent, Hudson who skippers the side, Hubie, Ferris, Jones and Westerman. And on the bench, Chase, Feather, Netherton and Widders. The coach is Terry Mattison. Now the Giants, Hodgson, the captain at fullback, Cudjoe, Lawrence, Fatuira and David Hodgson, Brown and Robinson. The forwards, Mason, Moore and Jackson, Lolisi, Wild and Walsh. And the substitutes here, Griffin, Kermond, Lunt and Patrick. The coach is Nathan Brown. Well, the Huddersfield Giants, they scored over 100 points in inflicting a League and Cup double over Castleford last year. 40 points to 14 here last August. At the start of last year they won 64-12 at home. And they emerge at the Jungle having lost to Hull FC last Friday night on Sky Sports. And with no doubt the words of new coach Nathan Brown ringing in their ears. He wasn't very impressed. Castleford though, 12th last year and bottom of the table on the crest of a wave in 2009. 3 straight wins for the first time in 6 years in Super League. Highly impressive against the Catalan Dragons in Perpignan. And can they build on that impressive night's work in the south of France just 7 days ago? Well, that's what the Castleford crowd will be hoping they get a positive answer to. Tribute to Alan Marchant this evening with a full minute's applause in appreciation of a wonderful life and wonderful service to this club. Tribute paid to Alan Marchant, and now the match will get underway. Huddersfield have the Giants and Castleford, they're on fire.
Certainly are, they must be pretty confident though. A wise move by the coach Terry Mattison has told his players not to get too excited. It'll be a hard game. Huddersfield were very disappointing last week and they've come up with possession from the kick-off.
Well, that wind really is a problem, and it will be a problem tonight. That ball hung in the air. Scott Moore for Huddersfield waits at dummy half. This is a glorious opportunity very early in the piece. Kevin Brown to Lolisi, first try! Jamal Lolisi, 23 seconds on the clock. What a start for the Huddersfield Giants. It all came about as a result of the kick-off. It hung in the air. There is a gale force wind blowing above the stands. And Lolisi was fed into a hole, and Jamal Lolisi over for the first try. The New Zealand international, 27 years of age. He's been at the Giants for 3 years now, but that try came in the 23rd second. I don't think there has been a faster start in Super League for many a year.
An amazing kick-off. Look how the wind just kept it hanging there, and it was a real opportunity. They come straight up with it, and watch for the pass from Kevin Brown. Super stuff it was. Just pulled him straight through, and you could see how he sucked in Sione Faumuina, and he just went, go through that gap, son. And Lolisi says, thank you very much indeed. Poor defence, but a superb offload there from Brown.
If we go back to the kickoff, I actually think that's an intentional play. It wasn't the wind necessarily that held it up. It was the technique to kick it high in the air. They've done that several times so far this season. What's the point in kicking it down to your opponents? Contested if at all possible, and it's paid off here perfectly.
Certainly has, and Brett Hodgson now with the opportunity to add to his 10 goals for the season and make it 6-0, which he does. What a start for Huddersfield Giants, just what they wanted after last week's disappointment against Hull FC at the Galfar.
And it really did just start coming back. They had the opportunity to it, and that was great work. Wonderful stuff by Scott Moore, but the pass from Brown, superlative.
So now it's Huddersfield again in possession. This time from the kick-off by Castleford. They would be stung by that.
They certainly would. I made a point that Teddy Madison says a long way to go in this competition. Don't get too overconfident. Well, that's just wiped it all away. Have the Giants poked the Tiger in the eye? We'll have to wait and see.
Huddersfield play the ball, Scott Moore, and here is Keith Mason. Well, Castleford and Huddersfield barely out of the dressing room, and here we are now with Huddersfield 6 points to the good, and on the last tackle of the second set of 6, that's Kevin Brown. He was under real pressure there, but he's still got a decent kick away, and so now the Tigers will run it back. That's Richard Owen. Good chase from the kick though by Huddersfield Giants.
Sure was. The kick is only as good as what that chase was, and there was 5 chasing right the way down. Tigers now to just try to slow things down, get into the game. They really were caught napping on that situation.
That's Sione Faumuina, who plays the ball to Ryan Hudson. And here now is Mitchell Sargent, but it's a penalty here for a high shot. Keith Mason being picked out by the referee, was round the throat of Sargent.
Well, he got off to a flying start, and there's the culprit, giving away at least 30 or 40 metres downfield. Remember, the wind will be in the favour of Castleford, though after watching that kick-off, you'd have to say it was the Giants that got the better rub of the green on that occasion.
This now is Ryan Hudson, and Hudson will go down the short side, and that's a neat bit of play by Sherwin, but he's hauled to the ground. On the charge, Brett Ferris here for Castleford.
Start of the show for Castleford so far this year has been Brent Sherwin.
Getting so close to the line. Big drive forward it was by Ryan Hudson. Chances here for the Tigers. Faumuina trying to jink his way past the defenders. That's the last one.
Oh, I thought for one moment there Faumuina had lost possession.
McGoldrick fires it wide. Evans, he puts it down. It's a knock on, even though Kirk Dixon gets over in the corner. And Nathan Brown, a wonderful start for him here at the Jungle.
Was forward anyway, even before James Evans even started to lunge for the football. Good opportunity. Now can they get their defence pretty solid, trying to keep the Giants well down in their own quarter. Biggest problem for Huddersfield last week, far too many errors. They knocked on about 8 times during the first half. You can't expect to win any game doing things like that.
This is Keith Mason, grounded by 2 tacklers. Sargent was one of them and Westerman was the other. And Joe Walsh, with the beard and the head guard, plays the ball untidily to Scott Moore. Jackson is halted by 3. Jones was in there very, very quickly. This is the last tackle here for Huddersfield. Robinson with the kick. He's got it over the top of Ryan McGoldrick, but it bounced and stood up for the Tigers full-back. It's a great run. He gets it wide. It's Richard Owen. Evades the first challenge. Can't get away from Scott Moore.
Good work from the first and second marker there from Huddersfield. Certainly up the tempo. That's another problem that they had last week against Hull, was they missed far too many tackles, but they're really on form at the moment. Oh, that's a good upload.
It is fine. Mamina to Evans. Evans in field, then to Hudson. Hudson, oh, he gets under the challenge, it was. Jackson to the rescue for the Giants. Plays the ball here to Jones. Faumuina again, wide to Evans. Evans still going, ball inside, all along the deck, is picked up. No, it isn't, by Stuart Jones. It's back with Huddersfield Giants in the shape of Stephen Wild.
Not so sure that was an advantage to the Giants in the fact that Steve Ganson, the official, said play on.
A problem here for Stephen Wild. There was certainly a bit of work being done on the ground by the Castleford Tigers defenders.
Not standing square, getting in front of the official. Just shows you the eagerness. Well, I'm not so sure that Brent Sherwin thought that they were dummying there, but big problems for Stephen Wild. He's been attended there, right-hand side of the screen, and I think he might have to leave the field.
Hold. Ball off.
Referee wants the second ball to be removed from the field before Huddersfield restart, which they do now. Here comes Walsh again, greeted by fairly stiff tackling, and he was stood on there, Stephen Wild, wasn't he?
Well, it appeared that way, yeah. It's certainly didn't appear to be any intent.
This is Kevin Brown, Paul Fatuira. Good work by Kirk Dixon. As soon as Fatuira received that ball, he was on him in a flash. Lolisi, that's a forward pass, not seen by either the touch judge or the referee. It doesn't matter from a Castleford Tigers point of view. They have it back from the mistake.
Well, Nathan Brown, the Giants coach, will be very upset with that. They got off to a good ball.
Great ball. Sherwin finds Richard Owen. Richard Owen is quick. Richard Owen is strong, but that's a very important tackle by Luke Robinson. McGoldrick helped it on to Sherwin again. Looks to fire it wide once more, which he does to Evans. He's got Dixon outside and Evans won't need him. Castleford reply to the first minute try with one of their own. James Evans with the try. He joined from Bradford in the close season. He has served all of his four clubs well, and of course he is a former Huddersfield Giant himself, James Evans. And he has got Castleford Tigers on the board, which from their point of view was important after falling behind to that first try in the 23rd second.
All came about by the error there from Keith Mason. And the run down the left-hand side by the winger Dixon, Owen should I say, and this pass out to Evans. Watch him throw the dummy. Oh, that was superb. You could see that the sliding defence had only one intention. Wonderful stuff. Back on the inside. Only just got there, but there was always going to be some trouble, wasn't there, for Richard Owen when he made that break.
Dixon to try and add the extras, which he does. That's a great kick from far out wide. 6 apiece. It's a good response, this, from the Tigers.
There was very little of anything wrong with Castleford's attack last season, Eddie. They could score enough points, and we've seen here today, early on, they'll score a lot of points here in this match. Good movement of the ball, wide ball pass there by Sherwin, and Evans then against a sliding defence, very intelligently steps back inside to score. They can attack, and they play great entertaining rugby, which is so well supported here at the Jungle. The area of improvement this season has had to be in defence, and we're going to find out over the next 70 minutes whether their defence is good enough to make them a top 8 team.
Phil, I think it's the confidence this Castleford side's got. I think they're playing with an awful lot. Brent Sherwin running, taking the ball to the line. I think he's backed up by some set of forwards. It could have been a penalty. Second effort by Stephen Wild. This is what Huddersfield can't do. This is what led to the try and put them in the field position for the try. Put this Castleford side, and you can't let them get in your own half, because last week against Catalan they were formidable with ball in hand.
Well, the Tigers were aware about the high kick into the wind. It's just hanging there. We'll see that, I'm sure, from Castleford in the second half. That's, of course, if Giants score.
Great run from Mitchell Sargent. He's still going, carrying 3 players with him.
He's been impressive this year as this big fella.
Faumuina back on the inside, and he finds Stuart Jones. smattering of former Huddersfield players, of course, in this side. That's a great ball from one of them, and that is Hubie. Ryan Hudson's pass under the sticks to Craig Hubie, and Hubie spins his way over the line for a second Castleford try in as many minutes. Craig Hubie, in his second season at Castleford, yet he's still only 22. Over 100 appearances. He is described in this part of the world as a 22-year-old veteran. That's a great try from the prop forward.
Certainly is, but what about the pass from Hudson as well? See how he utilised Mitchell Sargent. The Huddersfield defence expected Sargent there to get the ball. You see how two of them went for it, and it just left enough gap for the big fella Hubie to go over. No doubt there's celebration amongst the Tigers. This should be an easy conversion.
Well, Dixon's banged in front of the posts, doesn't miss those. He actually boots that ball out of the ground and into the car park behind the stand over there. Huddersfield led 6-0 after 23 seconds, and Castleford have responded with 2 tries of their own, 12-6.
Amazingly, you know, Terry Mattison at the start of the season, he said the one man that he really wanted to get back into his team was Ryan Hudson. And since he's brought him back, he really has led by example. There's the try scorer, Hubie, off the pass, of course, from his skipper, Ryan Hudson, who really has led this Tiger outfit through this year. Been in superb form.
And Terry O'Connor always appreciates when prop forwards get over for tries. Didn't get over for many, you said.
That was great vision by Craig Hubie as well, because you see St Helens and a lot of Super League sides go for that sort of play, because in between the sticks you'd only really have one defender, and on that occasion it was Luke Robinson, big guy against little guy.
Yes, a bit of a no contest, really. Well, it started very well for Huddersfield, didn't it? But Castleford have got themselves back into the match with a vengeance here. And Sherwin and Hudson, as Steve rightly says, have been leading the way. This is Stuart Jones now, who play the ball to Hudson. This is Faumuina. He's a big man.
He's a good man, always looking for the offload as well. Probably the one thing that Terry Mattison will be very pleased about. OK, they conceded 6 points very early, after what, 20-odd seconds. And sometimes it makes the team go into its shell, but not this Tigers outfit. Very early from the piece, when their first opportunity in possession, they made sure that they kept this ball alive. Just a little bit too long, that one. But their ability to miss people out, mainly through the skill factor of Ryan Hudson and the halfback Brent Sherwin. We'll see a lot of those two during this game.
Number 11.
Penalty here. The referee, Steve Ganson, saying that Brett Ferris was offside.
Back here on the 20, because it's from a restart.
He had an unhappy couple of years, Brett Ferris, at Wakefield.
Called offside by the
well, he's trying to sneak away on the blind side. Thought that Steve Ganson probably thought he had a bit of a problem with his left eye, but he spotted him.
Hold.
You can see the strength of the wind there. He only gained about 10 metres forward with the kick.
First, move.
Mr. Clark won't have it that there is wind out there, Steve-O.
Well, I walked across the pitch 3 times before the match and there was no wind then, Eddie.
No, but you're not 50, 60 feet up in the air, Phil. You're on the deck.
Get me off his face.
Unless there's something you're not telling us, of course.
No, I'll stay in on the deck. Castleford keeping the player on the deck for too long here. 2 penalties. Sometimes you see a team transferred upfield here with the assistance from the referee there. Interference in the play of the ball. There's a chance. Oh, a little bit of breeze there for some small twigs in the distance. You've got a guy shaking those trees on the ground floor. I've seen that.
I know, it's the people over on the far side. Bill, it might be Bill Arthur, I think. Oh, hang on, this is a great kick from Kevin Brown looking for David Hodgson. It's a wonderful kick from Kevin Brown. It's a fantastic try if it's given. It's being handed upstairs to Richard Silverwood, the video referee, just to check that David Hodgson's onside. He says, in answer to the question, yes, I was onside.
I think he's got it spot on. Beautiful kick over.
He's come from the other side of that dotted line, hasn't he?
When you talk about coaches thinking outside the box, this is the first tackled player here. They've not been down at this end of the field. The confidence and the initiative shown here by Huddersfield, well, I hope they're rewarded here with a try.
And I think you're right. I think this is going to be given, mainly due to the fact, and as you say, early in the tackle count, Phil, defensive sides, they like to be squeezed in this compress. And there is a confirmation of it. Wonderful tactics. Superb kick from Kevin Brown. Well, Brown created the first try to Lelisi with a magical pass, and now is reverted to the boot, and Hodgson has got them back into this game. Holding them down too long there, and they paid the price. Watch this. He knew exactly what was doing. See how the defence was sliding in. It was tight. No one had gone back. Planned move. Put that down to the new coach, Nathan Brown. He'd be pleased with that. At a time where the Tigers looked as though they were going to start taking control of this game.
Third try in 5 matches at the start of this season for David Hodgson, and a difficult conversion attempt here for Brett Hodgson, his namesake, but they are not, of course, related. Doesn't make the sticks.
Not a bad effort. Is it the Mistral or the Sirocco blowing over the back of that stand?
This is superb play. They must have been practicing that several times on the training pitch. They caught the defence. Very rare in the first, second and third tackle will you see the wingers drop back.
Well, look, we are closeted here in the stand underneath the roof, so we cannot feel the wind. The man who can feel if there is any breeze outside is Bill Arthur on the side.
There are occasional gusts, Eddie, to use meteorological terminology. It's not a steady gale blowing or anything like that, but just ever so suddenly the wind will pick up a big gust, and that's probably not helping the players at all gauge where they're going to put their kicks or how they're going to play this game, because they can't bank on the wind being there at their backs.
Thanks, Bill. Fatuira will play it here to Scott Moore then to Jackson. Walsh was on his shoulder, but Jackson took the tackle. It was the last one, this set of 6. And Moore with the 40-20 attempt. Oh, and he actually finds the right side of the whitewash. But he doesn't get the 40-20. Measured kick from Scott
Superb, yeah. And we've seen that quite a lot, haven't we? We saw it last night.
Okay.
We saw little Rob Burrow jumping into the half-back position. It's a good opportunity, because it's very, very difficult for the first and second markers to sort of apply any pressure onto it. There was none applied there to Scott Moore.
Faumuina, he's normally a back row forward, the size of him. But this is his 5th in a row at stand-off for Castleford. Meanwhile, James Evans, surrounded by Brown, Fatuira and Paul Jackson. Now Stuart Jones.
Got a few choices as well as the Tigers coach Terry Mattison, with the fact that he's got Rangi Chase on the bench, and be interesting to see when he's brought into the action.
Good work from Ferris. He spun away from one tackle as the pass from Brent Sherwin this time went short rather than booming out wide. Here's Sherwin again. That ball will be hoisted up into the sky. It's swirling all over the place. Brett Hodgson has missed it, but Shenton has not missed Brett Hodgson.
Looking to get away with that. Swirling around in the wind, and Hodgson just got to it, then recovered it. Ooh, went backwards.
Yeah.
Great work though, wasn't it?
Mate.
Michael Shenton.
Time off.
There's another young Tiger that's been hitting the high spots of late. Oh, great stuff.
Come on.
Playing well, Michael Shenton, isn't he, this year? International debut against Wales for England at Doncaster last season, just before England headed off for the World Cup. One or two people thought he might have been a dark horse for that trip as well, but never made it. Here is Ryan Hudson. This now is Hubie again.
I was one of those people that thought perhaps it would be a good idea to take another youngster. Got to prepare them for the future.
Mitchell Sargent.
I like this guy's attitude. Always looking for the ball. Give me more work.
Hudson will attack the line. He'll find Sherwin. He'll go back on the inside from Sherwin.
Good tackle by Brown. Had to go low.
Ryan McGoldrick was hunting the try then. Here is Sherwin again. He's the go-to man. What a pass. A boomer out to Richard Owen again. Last one for the Tigers here. It's Sherwin. They'll come back where the heavy traffic is. Shenton! I think he's got over the line.
I think he's held up. I think you'll find that they've got underneath him. Leroy Cudjoe, I think it is, has got right underneath. He's spinning him around. It is Cudjoe. He doesn't get that down. That's nowhere near terra firma. It was on the last, I feel, and that'll be the turnover. Good work by Cudjoe. Helped along there by Stephen Wild. This will be turned down, I feel. I have not seen any part of that white ball touch the grass. So I think I'm right in saying it was the last tackle, so that'll be the turnover. So they'll come out to the 10-metre line. That's where the handover will be, surely. Richard Silverwood is our video referee tonight. And I honestly don't feel that he's got it down, but what a wonderful effort there by Wild and Cudjoe to prevent this.
Richard Silverwood has given the Tigers every chance to score that try, but I don't think it has reached the ground. It's denied. It's the turnover because the handover because it was on the last.
Wait.
And that's a bird's eye view, isn't it, for the youngsters on that far side?
First, move.
Yeah, that is a real grandstand view, isn't it?
Hope they're buckled in with the wind that's knocking about.
2, move.
This is Scott Moore.
I once went on something like that in the fun fair years ago.
Yeah, you also went and visited Gypsy Rose Lee, and look what happened to you.
I got you.
This is Keith Mason, who plays the ball to Scott Moore. Robinson on his inside. Jackson. Good hit by Stuart Jones.
5. Red Chest now, turn the sound off. I can hear it.
Did she say cross my palm with silver and he only gave her a penny? Was that what it was? Good kick downfield.
Telly, I can hear all the chop there. Tell her.
Good chase as well. Well, he seems to have recovered from that injury to the ankle as Stephen Wild. And he certainly shrugged it off because he got down there very speedily indeed.
This is Richard Owen for Castleford. Great things expected of Owen, the 18-year-old wearing number 1 for the Tigers. 12 tries in his last 10 in Super League, going back to last July.
Well, they look a different outfit down to the Giants as what they sent out last week against Hull. No disrespect to the black and whites from the East Coast. They played well, but I must say the error count was high. We haven't seen that tonight from the Giants as yet.
Outside.
And kick downfield is from Sherwin. It bounces kindly for Hodgson. We'll have to run it back. Can't get anywhere past Faumuina and Hudson and Jones.
Hold.
Luke Robinson's in at dummy half for the Giants. Here is Brett Hodgson. Sherwin and Shenton deal with that particular threat.
That kick and chase from Castleford, you know, it took Huddersfield nearly all the pack. It took an eternity to get back behind their own line. Maybe it's they could be running out of gas a little bit.
Huddersfield 2 home defeats to St Helens and Hull FC, but away from home it's been a much different story. Only St Helens, with 10 straightaway wins from home, can better their run currently of 6.
5. Move. Good.
Scott Moore, dummy half. Last tackle here for Huddersfield.
Clear.
Kick is slid through by Luke Robinson.
Onside.
Referee's called all the Huddersfield players onside as McGoldrick tries to evade a few. Wild got to him, so did Robinson. Earl Crabtree, one of the missing 6 or 7 stars for Huddersfield in the stand.
2. Move.
They've got a very good pack of forwards at the moment sitting the action out.
3rd. Move.
Although they do welcome back Darryl Griffin tonight. He's on the bench waiting his chance. Here's Faumuina.
4. Move.
In fact, Darryl Griffin is on the field. And there he is with the tackle on his opposite number, Craig Hubie.
5. Move.
First involvement,
Go.
I'm pleased to say. I thought that Griffin might have sneaked on then for a moment. Cudjoe diffuses that situation.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a risky pass. Hodgson with work to do, and doesn't he do it well? Doesn't he do it well, Brett Hodgson?
Oh, just got ankle tap there, or did he trip? Either way, Shenton had to make sure. Oh, that was a shocking pass.
This is Chris Feather. Chris Feather on the charge for the Tigers.
Well, that was a suicidal pass. Deep near your own line like that.
Stuart Jones. Oh, brilliantly offloaded. Ryan Hudson. Ball is lost by Hudson. Brett Hodgson gives it to Luke Robinson. Here now is Michael Lawrence.
Well, they're not trying to keep this ball alive, Terry.
You're dead right, Steve, about the Huddersfield forwards. They've been really worked over by Brent Sherwin. He's dragging the players here, there and everywhere. The big Castleford forwards are making big inroads and targeting the big guys. I think this Huddersfield side need a real big lift of energy. They need to get the ball down the other end, Castleford, and challenge them to bring the ball out.
He missed round one, Brent Sherwin against Harlequins. He didn't play that ball properly, Keith Mason.
No, I think, Eddie, it's interfering with the opposition player by picking his leg up twice.
Okay, yes. Mind you, did he play the ball properly anyway? That's always debatable at the play of the ball, isn't it? I think, actually, to be fair to Mason, he did. But it was the pushing and the shoving that resulted in the Tigers' penalty. 25 minutes gone, 12-10 at the Jungle, and Hubie, scorer of one of the Castleford tries. Hudson waits at dummy half, scheming, looking right and left, comes this way with Sherwin. He pops it up then for Chris Feather.
Castleford this season, Terry Madison, the coach, has had them working the short blind side after 2 or 3 runs down into the middle, but they're going out wide.
McGoldrick wide, and he finds Kirk Dixon. They're making sure, Tatawira and Hodgson and Kevin Brown, that there was no chance there. McGoldrick takes the return from Faumuina. Scott Moore tracked him all the way, snuffed out the danger.
Wasn't going to be fooled by the simple runaround, was he? More straight into his face, ball and all tackle.
Hudson again. Now it's Brent Sherwin, taking the responsibility himself this time, leaving a trail of bodies behind him. Last tackle here, though, for Castleford. McGoldrick, little chip over the top. That's not the best. And I must say that Leroy Cudjoe did well to deal with that. Here's Michael Lawrence now for the Giants.
Always amazes me. You're so short to the line, and then you try to get it up over the top. Far better, and percentage-wise, put it to the deck, kick it into the ground. It can bounce anywhere.
3 tackles gone, 15 metres ground made by Huddersfield. 10 metres away from their own line at the moment. Well, a moment ago, Terry Mattison watching that. Just a little bang of the fist on the desk. Let's go down to Bill for some news off the sideline.
Yeah, Brent Sherwin's just had a problem. He's just came to the sideline while play was continuing and signalled the physio over. And Sherwin, I think, might have a dislocated finger. It's the left hand. He's still looking at it, shaking it. They've been on, treated it. Signals come back. He might need some strapping on. So whether it's dislocated, broken, sprained, we'll have to wait and see. But he's not comfortable.
Too long.
Well, it's always difficult for a man who's a confident ball handler to have a problem with the thumb or the finger. Well, I was praising the Giants in as much that they weren't doing as many errors and giving away penalties like they did last week, but they seem to have gone back into old form.
Another good run from Chris Feather. They'll be anxious, the Tigers, about Brent Sherwin. He is the man, he's the general. He's the fellow who shouts and bawls the instructions. He is the man who leads them around this park. Very close to the action again. Ryan Hudson looking at him over his left shoulder and will give him the ball. And a short pass from Brent Sherwin. Hudson again. This is Stuart Jones. Jinx out of one bit of trouble, only to run straight into another.
He's working overtime, the hooker Scott Moore. That's the second tackle on the trot.
Faumuina.
Now they need a dummy runner here, or are they going to kick?
Last tackle it is for Castleford. McGoldrick. Westerman hangs on. They've got man on the overlap. They must be in, and they are with Ferris. Now, did he drop it? Did Brett Ferris drop it?
That's the reason why he's gone to the screen as Steve Ganson.
Brett Ferris doesn't look very convincing, does he?
I think he's dropped it. Well, they went for the power play, and that has been knocked away. Why on earth do they try to score with one hand? All it needed...
Yeah, but hang on, if it's knocked out of his arm, should it be play on?
Well, you can't score with your head.
No, but...
I understand what you're saying.
The game was play on at that point when it was knocked out. That's brilliant defence. We stopped the game a bit early.
No try, courtesy of the great work from Michael Lawrence.
Well, he should get a real rocket from his coach, Terry Mattison, because when you get that close and you're into open space, you tuck the ball into your chest and just dive over. Why you try to... He shifted it from one hand to the other and then tried to plonk it down. Dearie me. Forwards like you, Terry, wouldn't have done that.
I never got near the try line enough to try and practice that, Stephen, but the worrying thing for the Huddersfield side is that would have been the third try that they would have scored off penalties that Huddersfield had given away, and that was a criminal one before that Keith Mason done. You never give a penalty away when you're in control of the football.
This is Danny Kermond for the Giants. Now Scott Moore would run from him, and he finds Stephen Wild, who in turn finds Michael Lawrence, who in turn finds Leroy Cudjoe, and Cudjoe is in touch. They muscled up in defence then, the Castleford Tigers, but it was a good, fluent move from Huddersfield.
Shows you they've got the quality as well. Trying to shimmy away. Nice handoff, but they got there in numbers in the end. Well, both sides eager to keep it alive. It's been entertaining.
Yeah, they both like to play football, don't they? They really do.
And Terry Mattison, so he'll be looking at the fact that Shenton no try, Ferris no try. They could have been in full control of this game, but they're not. They've only got 2 points in front.
I think I'm right in saying that with our visit to the jungle here tonight, we have now seen all 14 of the clubs involved in the Engage Super League race in 2009. It's round 5 of the competition, and we've seen each and every one of the contenders. Leeds very impressive, of course. St Helens look as though they are finding their form as well, and Saints against Leeds is next Friday at 7:30 on Sky Sports 2 and in high definition in HD2 on HD2 as well. And here we are now, half an hour into this match on Sky Sports 3 and HD3.
Good play by
good
Robinson.
quality game.
That was wonderful stuff. Another problem there for Brent Sherwin. He just tackled Robinson from the chip over the top, and he's running to the sidelines. It doesn't look good for Brent Sherwin.
Oh, he's obviously got a problem. Oh, Danny Kermond did well then. That was not a knock on. He had to stretch forward for it. It might have been deemed to have been a forward pass, but he did well to hang on to the possession. Now here is Michael Lawrence again.
Creating all sorts of problems as well as the young Lawrence. There on that right-hand side.
Robinson, will he put boot to ball? Yes, he will, under pressure. It's hanging, it's hanging, it's hanging. And Brown has nearly come up with it, but instead came up with a knock-on.
That was try time. It was in his hands and then just lost control of it.
Back to the line. Back to the line.
Well, the opportunities coming thick and fast.
Here's Chris Feather now for the Castleford Tigers. Number 30 there in the Huddersfield Giants colours, by the way. You might have had a glimpse of him. Larn Patrick. He's only 20 years of age. He was named last week in the 19, but he missed out against Hull FC. He's had a year over in Australia with the Narrabeen Sharks. And he has come back. He's based in Pontefract, the number 30. Based in Pontefract, but now he's here in Super League and making his name. That, though, is Scott Moore, on loan from St Helens, who's been penalised for that challenge on Sione Faumuina. Here's Chris Feather, meanwhile, for the Tigers. 8 penalties in the match. Hudson. And that's Dean Widders for Castleford.
Tigers have had more opportunity to get points on the board. I'm a little bit disappointed that they're only in front by such a small margin. Oh, there was no support there.
Hudson found Brett Ferris in the end.
Hudson was looking if someone had been coming on the angle, and he's lost it.
It's a knock on by Ferris, who's not had the best 5 or 10 minutes.
Don't throw the ball away. Back here.
Well, he took the option rather than diving with the ball tucked in, and got it knocked away.
What's that, mate? I've seen him with the
No
turn.
try, and then he's given away
Yeah.
the knock on, which
Ryan
will
Hudson, Billy.
give the Giants
Don't
head and
push the
feed.
defenders off at the tackle. Don't leave that
So
to
what's
me.
interesting, Eddie, if you compare Leeds last night, who played the game with a recognised hooker, and these two teams tonight, both have 2 hookers in the starting 17 that they've named here. I'm sorry, in the 17 that they've named. Both now getting on. Kirk Netherton for Castleford and Sean Lunt for the Huddersfield Giants. Different strategies, different personnel available to different coaches.
And who do you think's got it right?
Well, it'd be hard to argue against Leeds at the moment, but they've got such talent and skill that maybe that's more about individual ability than strategic decisions.
This is Robinson.
4. Move.
There is
Hold.
Sean Lunt. He had to pass a fitness test just before the match to take his place in this team. He's a former Castleford junior, the man with hands on the ball now, and kicking from dummy half into the arms of Richard Owen.
Not a good one, really, the kick, but the chase is good.
Oh, well, Richard
step
Owen has made
through.
it look pretty ordinary.
Oh, I thought he was going to offload there in heavy traffic.
Plays the ball instead. No way through then. Danny Kermond all over the back of Kirk Dixon. Here's Faumuina again. Whoops, that's not the best thing to do. It's Stephen Wild for Huddersfield.
There's a time and place to look for an offload,
Here's Sean Lunt.
and that certainly was not the place to do it, and he knows it.
Robinson.
They'll be buoyed by this, will the Giants? Nathan Bryan will be he'll be feeling a lot better than his opposite, Terry Matterson.
It's Kevin Brown. Kevin Brown gives it to Brett Hodgson. Hodgson to David Hodgson, who evades the tackle of Dixon. Scores in the corner if it is given the nod by video referee Richard Silverwood.
I can't see anything wrong with this. It was a good finish, wasn't it? You've got to make sure you get them, and I'm afraid Mr. Dixon missed him. That's TRY time.
Tell you what, you want to play on the wing for a Huddersfield side at the moment, because the wingman's getting the ball as he likes it, with space early and able to run down that line inside in the field of play and hopefully score.
I can't understand why Steve Ganson's handed that one upstairs, but it's given a try. He had a clear view of the grounding. The touch judge was watching the feet, they weren't over the sideline. I wonder if Steve Ganson just didn't want to make the decision.
Well, maybe he couldn't see it. It was pretty close to the post, the flag, should I say. We probably would have crucified him, Eddie, if he hadn't gone up for it. But it was good play. They won't be impressed with the fact that Dixon really should have got him. He reached down, went for the legs, but Hodgson, he knows the way to the line. Very crafty indeed. And the Giants take the lead yet again.
Great try from Hodgson in the corner, squeezing in. And Brett now with a chance to add 2 more. I think that Castleford will find this wind a little tricky when they turn round, because it is definitely swirling into their faces, the Huddersfield Giants, in this first half. But they lead by 14 points to 12.
Terry Matterson will have plenty to say at half-time as well. Mainly due to the fact, okay, you can point to the fact that they had 2 tries have been turned down by the video referee, and rightly so on both occasions. But to allow them to sneak in out wide on the corner has put the Giants in control, and it's a different side, isn't it? They really have muscled up. At one point, it looked as though they were very tired. 2 quick tries by the Tigers, looked as though they were going to control the game. And there's
Standing square.
another penalty. Well, Dean Widders never even made an attempt to get square behind the man playing the ball.
Let's get downstairs to Bill.
Yeah, Brett Hodgson is in the wars. It's a double dislocation of a finger on his left hand. It's come out, it's gone back in again. It's come out, it's gone back in again. In out. He's shaking it all about at the moment.
This is Kermond. Danny Kermond. Good little run.
Third. Move.
They're applying the pressure now, the Giants.
Lunt, and he finds Robinson. Robinson, good ball to Brown. Collision though, Brown felt that.
Move.
Here is Brett Hodgson. And oh, that's hacked forward. And he had to be very, very quick then. Did Rangi chase? And he was.
Boy, Daniel Griffin looked as though it was going to be... Oh, it's away! Neat step.
2. Move.
It's a very good step by James Evans, but
Third.
Castleford
Move.
cannot make much progress against this Huddersfield defence at the moment. This is Ryan Hudson, just dropped the
4.
shoulder, decided to come back on
Move.
the right-hand side. They read the situation, they read the script, Huddersfield.
Just lost their shape slightly of the Tigers.
5. Back up.
And when they've got in a good
Move.
scoring position, they've squandered it away.
Sherwin, up it goes, that's high. And it's out on the full.
Shepherded it well, didn't he? Leroy Cudjoe. Right on the whitewash, is out.
Well, Castleford's last win against Huddersfield came in June 2006 at 32 points to 14.
First.
After losing to Huddersfield in their first ever Super League encounter in 1998, Castleford won the next 12 games at this level, but they're struggling a little bit now with a minute and a half to go to the half-time siren. Robinson, great offload to Kermond. Kermond tries to duck underneath Faumuina's challenge. He does, but there is reinforcements
He's
ahead of him.
pinched it, he's pinched it.
He has. Well, that's got to be a penalty against Kermond.
A silly play.
Craig Hubie did so well, and Kermond saying, my arm was trapped underneath him. I couldn't do anything about it.
Did well, did Hubie, didn't he? He said it's mine. And it was. And it is. And then he just lays all over the man.
Last
Gives
minute
away
of
the
this
penalty.
first half, Dean Widders. A good tackle by Danny Kermond. Widders felt that. That's Rangi Chase. Here now is a chance with Hudson.
Again, a beautiful offload by Hubie.
Netherton got the ball away to Sherwin. Here is Ryan McGoldrick.
Third. Move.
Only seconds left, they've got to come up with something pretty quick.
4.
Good drive in from Netherton, that was. 4 tackles gone, 15 seconds remaining in this first half. Sherwin with the kick to the in-goal area, it's too deep.
Idea was good, just a little bit too strong.
And here goes David Hodgson. And he is missed by Ryan McGoldrick. There's the half-time siren.
I don't think the referee's heard it.
He has now, all the Castleford players told him. Hodgson was away. You have to ask whether it was actually legal, that restart for Huddersfield. I thought that the ball was touched by the man before the whistle anyway, and you have to question where the referee is.
Well, you're supposed to make sure that the opposition gets back to 10. No one was near it. As it turned out, Hodgson was dragged down in the end. But a fine